Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Average Joe Hockey Report. In this video, we're going to go over my favorite players from every team in the Western Conference. Starting with the Anaheim Ducks, my favorite player on the Anaheim Ducks is John Gibson. Gibson, I remember the 2016-2017 playoff run that he had with the Anaheim Ducks. It unfortunately ended in the semifinals against the Nashville Predators, where Gibson got injured. And I feel like if he would have stayed healthy, they would have beaten the Nashville Predators. Now, if you want to say this is karma um, uh, for how they defeated the Edmonton Oilers in that with that controversial goal where Cam Talbot's pad got pulled and they still allowed the goal, which should have been called goalie interference. And yeah, it was goalie interference. If you want to call it karma, sure. But still, fact of the matter is, Anaheim still made it to the semifinals and would have made it to the finals if Gibson would have stayed healthy. Now we go on to the Arizona Coyotes. My favorite player on the Coyotes is Barrett Hayton. Barrett Hayton, I know he didn't have the greatest. I know he was a bit of a hot shot in juniors, but he's humbled now, and give him time. He's only had one full season in Arizona, where he played 60 games. He had 24 points in 60 games. Give him time. He's going to be a good player. Trust me. And he's matured. He's matured since his days in Sault Ste. Marie, where even Don Cherry called his team out for calling them a bunch of hot dogs and saying there's not enough mustard to cover those hot dogs. But yeah. Okay, the next team we're going to talk. The next team is the Calgary Flames. My favorite player on the Calgary Flames is Juuso Valimaki. Valimaki, I know he's been struggling to crack the lineup yet, but give him time. He's still very young. And I think give him time. He's gonna make the team. He's only had three. He hasn't really had a full season with Calgary. The most he's played was 49 games with Calgary in the 2020-2021 season, where he had 11 points in 49 games. But once he cracks the lineup, he's only 23. Once he cracks the lineup and gains confidence, he should be a great player for Calgary. I'm a big fan of his skill set and whatnot. The next team we're going to talk about is the Chicago Blackhawks. And for me, it's a toss-up between, Jonathan Toews and Peter Mrazek. Jonathan Toews because, what he's done for Chicago, bringing the cup back to Winnipeg when they 3 times. And yeah, I have the most respect for Jonathan Toews' career, even though he's not the player he once was. Peter Mrazek in Detroit, I thought he should have been the starter. I liked his game better than Jimmy Howard, but such is life, I gotta say. Next team is the Colorado Avalanche. My favorite player on the Colorado Avalanche is Bowen Byram. I'm not surprised Bowen Byram, uh, did really well for the Avalanche this past season, and he's only going to get better. I saw highlights of Byram in juniors, and I knew that he was going to be something else, and sure enough. Next team from the West, is the Dallas Stars. My favorite player from the Dallas Stars is Jake Oettinger. And this is not because of the season he had last season. I liked him the season prior to that, where I thought he had a pretty good season there too. So, I'm a big fan of Oettinger, and I'm glad to see him have the success that he's having. Next team from the West is the Edmonton Oilers. My favorite player on the Edmonton Oilers is Evan Bouchard. Although it's a toss-up between Bouchard and Philip Broberg. Those are two defensemen that in my opinion, that Edmonton needed, puck-moving defensemen. And I'm happy to see Bouchard have the success that he's having, and Broberg, give him time, as he is at. I can't remember what. Where did he get selected overall again? Broberg. Anyways, give Broberg time. He's gonna be really good too. So. Yeah, I'm just gonna look it up. Yeah, Broberg was selected at 8th overall. He's gonna be and I think he's a promising defenseman back there for Edmonton. All right, we're gonna go on to the next team in the West, and that is the Los Angeles Kings. And I've always been an Anze Kopitar fan, always. Me and my brother, we've taken him in hockey pools, and the consistency that he brings, in regards to getting points, and the responsibility that he has. He's a very responsible player, great two-way player. Just nothing but the utmost respect for Kopitar. Next team from the West is the Minnesota Wild, and I've always been a Marc-Andre Fleury fan. Always. I loved him when he first came into the NHL with his flashy glove saves, amazing glove hand. And I just love his smiling personality. He's quite the character. And yeah. Next team from the West is the Nashville Predators. My favorite player from the Nashville Predators is Eli Tolvanen. I just always have had a good feeling about Tolvanen. And to no surprise, he's cracked the top 6 of Nashville now. And good for him. I'm happy to see the success he's having. And I've always known that he would be a great player. The next team from the West, holy smokes, we're going in alphabetical order, is the San Jose Sharks. And my favorite player on the San Jose Sharks, I know he's not as good as he once was, but Erik Karlsson. Erik Karlsson has been known to be the puck possession god, and is basically the perfect example of what defensemen should be nowadays. Basically, it's about moving the puck and making sure the other team doesn't have it, and just constantly looking great while on the ice. Looking determined, and looking like your team's gonna, just looking like your team dominates wherever you're on the ice, basically. The next team from the West is the Seattle Kraken. And my favorite player from the Kraken is Matthew Beniers. I know he hasn't played too many NHL games, but he's a very promising prospect for the Seattle Kraken. I have nothing but praise for Beniers, and I think he's going to be a great player for them. I'd say him and Shane Wright will be the cornerstones of that franchise. Next team from the West is the St. Louis Blues. And I think my favorite player, I must say, is Ryan O'Reilly. He's always been known to be an underrated player, and I honestly dislike it when people say, oh, he's a bad luck, he's a bad curse, or blah, blah. No. It's great teams that win Stanley Cups, not great players. But Ryan O'Reilly played a key role in that 2019 Stanley Cup winning championship. I'm glad he won that. Get that monkey off his back. No one talks about that stupid curse anymore, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. The next team from the Western Conference is the Vancouver Canucks. And my favorite player from the Canucks is Thatcher Demko. I always had a good feeling about Thatcher Demko, and I just think the team in front of him is just not helping him out too much. Once the team gets stronger, I think he'll get better. And I think they made a, but who was it that they moved on from? Was it Braden Holtby that they moved on from? But I can't. Yeah, my memory's not the greatest in that regard. But Thatcher Demko, no, I think he's gonna be. I, I think once the team finally gets better, that he's gonna be better. And yeah. And last but not no, sorry. The next team is the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm sorry. And my favorite player on the Golden Knights is now Shea Theodore. I had him in my hockey pool, and he was great. I always knew he was gonna be good. Um, I'm sure Anaheim wish they had him now, but he's been a great, but he's a great defenseman for Vegas. My kind of guy, puck mover, you know, can do it all, whatnot. Yeah. And now, finally, last but not least, Winnipeg Jets. And my favorite player from the Winnipeg Jets is a bit of a reach, but it's Ville Heinola. Heinola, I think, if you actually, develop him properly, give him playing time. Yeah, okay, maybe if it's, on the third D pairing with Dylan DeMelo, I think that would still be a pretty good D pairing. Because DeMelo is a good two-way defenseman, and Heinola's got offense. And I know the narrative of Heinola is, um, you know, great offense, great skating, but weak in the corners, not the greatest defensively. Well, okay, so you put him on a third D pairing, you shelter him, let him build his confidence, and then you go on from there. I think Heinola could be great for Winnipeg if he's given the chance. Anyways, this video is mostly based on my own opinion, and maybe maybe there may be some players that you disagree on this list and whatnot. This is just how I feel about some of these players. So remember, if I'm wrong, don't belittle me, educate me. Take care, everyone, and follow my Instagram account, The Average Joe Hockey Report, and my YouTube channel, Marty Tommy, in parentheses, Average Joe Hockey Report. And remember, this is The Average Joe Hockey Report. Hockey opinions through the perspective of an average Joe.